Well, what's up, fellas and ladies, if there are any in here? Just figured I would do sort of an impromptu little get together here. And I had the privilege of having a conversation with a friend earlier today and just had such a good time doing that. I thought, you know what? I'm going to do this because what better thing than talking with like-minded people, friends, acquaintances than sharing our ideas, our thoughts, our hobbies, right? So I figured I would jump in here, and why not? Why not do one? Um, God, you ever meet somebody, whether it's in face, online, whatever, and you start talking to them, and you know, obviously, if you're gonna spark up a conversation with someone, you tend to feel that maybe either you have common interests or maybe you think alike or what hobby, whatever the case may be. But you ever strike up one of those conversations and before you know it, it's like you're old friends. You're not, just someone that just met the other person. And, before you knew it, in this case, it was almost 3 hours. I went, oh my God, 3 hours. And we talked about everything under the sun. And it seemed like it was 10 minutes. So those kind of things kind of just show you that a lot of times your intuition's right. And it renews your belief in humanity, that there's still some good people out there, and that all is not lost, I guess. How's that sound? But yeah, it was just fun, and I thought, why not continue it? Because on the downside of things, I blew a range day today because of it. I was literally heading out the door, and I was going to sight in, not sight in, they're all sighted in once 40 years old, but I was going to take my lever actions to the range and just make sure they're still hitting where I think they're hitting. And one is a Winchester Model 94 lever action in 30-30. It's about a 1976 or so, 77, 78, somewhere in there. Really, really nice rifle. My favorite deer rifle. And the other one is a Henry. It's called a Big Boy, the or Yellow Boy, but the Big Boy, in 45 Colt, or as some of us might call it, 45 Long Colt. And I love that rifle. I've been loading some loads to really get that thing cooking. I think I don't know, 11 grains of unique behind a 250 grain bullet. And it's pumping pretty good. Starting to flatten some primers out at about 10 grains or 10 and a half grains. As a matter of fact, I don't think I fired any of the 11 grains, but I'm sure it can handle it. Anyhow, the faster I loaded that thing, the more accurate it got. I kind of brought it up from, I don't know, 8 grains or I forget what. Anyhow, I was going to take the rifles to the range at about 2:00 and get in a couple hours before the sun went down. And by the time I got off the phone, well, it was getting dark, so it wasn't worth the ride. But I was going to do a video for you guys, but so I figured I'd do this instead. What's the big deal? This is almost better. I'm sure you guys know enough about lever actions, probably. Anyhow, let's jump over to the chat real quick, see who's here, and then we'll dig into a few subjects and current events here. Joe's in as usual, and Chase, Joe made it first. These guys got a race. I put it out this time on a post. I wonder if you guys saw my post first or the YouTube announcement that I was doing this. I gave it at least an hour, so most of you guys probably should have gotten notice. I see by how many people are in here that they probably did. So we got Joe in the house, Chase Kelly, Pike Possum. Oh, hell yeah. The Rock on Sunday. I'm excited. Sundays are all Bible stuff and sky is falling. Yeah, I didn't make it to church today, unfortunately. I like church. Chase, good to see you. Joe, too. MZ, he's in here. Texas Bullet. Hey, Rock. Good to see you, too, Texas. Thanks for stopping by. We truly appreciate all you guys stopping in. Really, we do. This isn't I don't do this for the money or the views or any of that. If I'd done it for the views, I would have quit a long time ago. It's just fun for me. That's all. Miguel Valenzuela's in here. He says, hello, amigos. What's up, man? Got some family members going down to Mexico this week. I get to stay here and make money. Hey, what the hell? Someone's got to pay for it, right? Orion Fixer's here. Hey, Joe, what's this? I'll be back, BS. You can run first place in NASCAR for 199 laps, but if you ain't first on lap 200, you don't win. You got to stick it out. You're right. I used to tell my kids racing motorcycles all the time, hey, Dad, I took second place. Great, you're the first loser. Now let's get back out and practice. Wasn't that mean. They weren't that little. Well, maybe. I was tough on them, but it takes that to build champions, right? Let's see. Rush Hour's here. Hello, how are y'all doing? I'm doing great. I really am. Ellen Bishop, too. He's here. I was just on the Circle 10 AK website. They're not out of business. No, they're not. They're friends of mine. If you go to the Krebs video on the 9x39, that's their place we were shooting at. They are right on the Illinois-Wisconsin border on the Wisconsin side. And that was their property. We're at really good guys. They are just going under a different name, a different label. And for the life of me, it escapes me right now, but I'll get it to you. They're not gone. They enjoy and love what they do, and they got lots of good products. So I will find that out for you. I haven't seen those guys in a while, but I just, someone caught me up on that the other day that, yes, they're still around. So if you're looking for Circle 10 AK, they're still there. You can still get their products, and they got some good stuff. Everything from some triangle stocks that they put out to some stock conversions, like to an M4. They even have kits occasionally, and they're an FFL, so they got rifles and all kinds of cool stuff, and a few things you can't find other places. So I think they were the ones. Anybody remember the whole? And please do not search it. Trust me on this. Do not put it in your search engine. Your eyes will be scarred for life if it's still there. But it had something, and I can't even remember exactly what it was, but it had something to do with the blue AK mag. And it was a blue Circle 10 mag thing. And it was so big that they made t-shirts about it. I guess when you searched it or tried to link to it, it took you to a site you don't want to see. And yeah, it was like what was that old one back in the day about a cup? If any of you remember that one. Yeah, something similar probably. Anyhow, I think they were the first ones to jump on that bandwagon. The t-shirts were hilarious at the time. Now everybody goes, what? Blue mag, what? But at the time it was cool. That's early AK stuff. Yeah, the blue waffle, that was it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Yeah. Who knew it? Joe knew it. Who else knew it here? Leave it to Joe to know about that. Crack me up. Hey, I was first in rebranding. Yeah, I think it's either rebranding or they had two companies to begin with, and now they're just going under one. Something, I forget. I don't know. It's maybe they get some grief over Circle 10. Who knows? I doubt they could reach into this country for anything like that, but I don't know. You never know. There they go. Alan Bishop's got it. They now go under CRH Customs. So there you go. There's your answer. Check it out. They're not gone. Not gone at all. But yeah, so you can still reach them. But look at all the laughs and thumbs up when the blue waffle. I know one of you guys is going to do it. You're going to do it. And then you're probably going to get a virus or something. And please don't check in. Somehow it'll transfer from the chat into my new computer and it'll all be over. Yeah. Next time I go live, there'll be some, anyhow, it's funny. Hey, I dated a few blue waffles over the years. All right. This is a family show. We got to keep it family. Zip it. Anyhow, I'm talking about a lot of good stuff, talking about ammo issues. I'm not going to say who this was just because I don't know if he wants that out there. So I'm not going to do that. But I'm going to refer to him as he's my Thunder Buddy. He'll understand that. Thunder Buddy. So one of my Thunder buddies, um, he knows the ammo business pretty well and other things. And we were just talking about markets and changes and things going on. And put it this way, I'm working on that brass ammo project for the 7.62 by 39. So you'll see a lot more of that coming in a few weeks. Just trying to start fiddling with it. If you buy a rifle, a new caliber, whatever, there's always that starting point. We all start out with some factory rounds, see how that goes, see what we like, different weights. And if you're like most of us that reload, once you switch over, it's all reloading from there on out. Unless it's bulk stuff, and in this case, 7.62 by 39 steel case. I love nothing better than running steel case. Why? Because I don't have to police up the brass. It bothers me to see range brass laying on the ground. I'm not a cheapskate. Trust me, I'm not. I can spend money with the best of them. But when you see it laying there, it's just like, oh God, I could turn that into something. So I got to police it up. If it's my ammo, I will search. If I shot 50 rounds, I'll search till I find the 50th. It's my OCD. If other guys would be like, well, I got 48. That's good. Only lost whatever percent, not me. I got to search till I find it. And if I find someone else's, it's like, nope, that's not mine. I got to find the one I'm nuts like that. It drives me crazy. But, yeah, steel case is nice because you just shoot it and forget it, right? But whenever you get a new rifle, new caliber, and you start reloading, it's a process. Now, yeah, the books give you the guidelines, right? Your max, your minimum, or start at 10% back of the max, or what have you, and then ladder it up, like I did with this 45 Colt. I started, I forget, 9.5 grains, 10 grains, 10.5, 11. And you run them all and you compare the pattern size and figure out what runs best in that rifle. And if you're getting really crazy, that can vary day by day. Barometric pressure, temperature, direction. I'm crop dusting that day, whatever. I don't know, but it's a thing, and I don't get that crazy. A lot of precision shooters are nuts, and they have all that stuff up here. And I get it. That's your thing. You're into it. I do it, and by the time I get to the range, the stickers I put on there fell off. I can't remember how many grains were in this. Which one was the best that patterned? I didn't write it on the target. I get home, I look at them, I go, yeah, I guess we'll go with 10 grains. I don't know. That may or may not be the best. I'm just not organized enough for that. But I develop a 5.56. Unless I'm doing stuff for my precision AR, I just load up a batch based off feet per second, and that's what I load. Boom, I'll run 2,000 rounds like that. And whatever. But you develop a load and you reload your brass, and that's it. You're not buying much factory rounds. And I can't wait to do this 7.62 project. Partially, initially I thought, well, it'll just be a good way to reload bulk and save some money getting brass, because I was assuming brass mass-produced ammo will be more money than steel case. And right now it's steel case at about 400, 1,000. I figure that's got to be a 500, 600, 1,000 or thereabouts, like AR ammos run. And maybe even crazier because doesn't have the production capacity around the country like that does. So I figured, who knows what we'll be paying, but if I get the brass and I can get the bullets, and everything's good. So I had everything but the bullets, and I'm searching those out. And they're a bit different than every other 30 caliber, like I explained a stream or two ago. But they were kind of inobtainium right now. Well, my Thunder buddy got me some. So awesome. And some other good stuff. So, it's just hooking up with good people that hopefully you can, they do you a favor, you do them one, or you can repay it one day, whatever the case may be. Good people like to help good people. That's what it comes down to. And it's good to have those people, right? We talked about communications last week, and I brought up the radio, and that could kind of segue into it. Frankly, I forgot I was going to do the radio thing, or I promised you guys I'd do it Tuesday. And if I can, I'll still do Tuesday's stream, and we'll talk about that. But you need to keep those lines of communication open with friends, acquaintances, like-minded people, not just next door, not across town or 10 miles away, but everywhere, right? Who knows what can be road? This is uh, things are a lot bigger today. There's this crazy box where we can communicate all over the world and talk to people. And what if that goes away one day? You have friends in places if you're traveling, if you're whatever. Uh, I always look for, when my other daughter was in school, I knew somebody that was down by her that if there was ever a really bad situation, she could go and know she'd find help there, and whatever. We always had a plan. And, hopefully I can do that here. But you just want to know people and be able to communicate with them. And you never know when just a little tidbit of knowledge helps somebody or they can help you. And that's what it's all about. So I had a ton of fun. I missed range today. God, these lever actions, I call them or refer to them as the world's first assault rifle, right? And yeah, I know we hate that term. We want to call them more modern sporting rifles. Well, I don't want to change my vocabulary for anyone. Are they? Well, probably in a way. Yeah, they don't have a switch, but they do what they do, and they're efficient at it, and they have multiple uses, right? So whatever I'm using them for at the time, that's what I'm going to call them. I guess I don't know. It doesn't bother me to use that term. Yes, it's a made-up term, and it is what it is. But they were really the first of their kind, right? Before that, you had, flintlock and then cap and ball and then bolt action rifles, repeaters, of different kinds, from revolvers on the handgun front to, um, you know, uh, integral mags, that take strippers or individual cartridges or whatever. But until then, until the advent of the lever action, where you could truly have quick and fast follow-up shots and multiples of them. I mean, in this case, I'm looking at it over here, the Henry 45 Colt, that holds 10 plus 1 in the 20-inch barrel. In the carbine, it's like 7 plus 1, I think. 30-30, that's a rifle cartridge, straight wall. But or not straight wall in that. What am I talking about? A rimmed cartridge though, and that holds less because it's a rifle cartridge. But all in all, it was really the first most efficient way of really plowing some lead down range, where you could keep somebody's head down a little bit, that kind of thing. And to this day, it's a very, very useful instrument. And probably, I would venture to guess, it's still the most popular deer rifle on the planet. And that's frankly what I was getting ready for, opening day of rifle season. Figured I'd check them out and got a big decision to make. Either I'm going to run the 30-30, which I've run every hunting season for over 40 years, or about 40 years, or switch to the 45 Colt, which was actually a gift from my father. He knew I liked 45 Colt and had a pistol and wanted to get into cowboy action shooting, and he found it used. Those are about $1,000 rifle MSRP, and I think I got it for like $575 or something, just mint in the box. It had been fired, maybe 10 rounds put through it or something. But all in all, a beautiful, great rifle. That brass receiver, it's hardened brass, so it's not typical soft brass. And they thicken the receiver on it. It's no lightweight, octagon barrel. These things are tanks, but they can hold just about anything you can load into them. Be careful if you guys are shooting 45 Colt, because if you, let's say, are loading rounds like I did for that Henry rifle, and you are going to put them in your pistol, depending what pistol you have, you could send that thing sky high. Especially original Colts or even third generation Colt single actions. they are not beefed up for some of these rounds and new powders. You can easily send one sky high. Original Vaqueros. I want to say, now let me, the new Vaquero, I know cannot hold it, but maybe it was the original one that can. I can't remember exactly, guys. I think the original one could, the new Vaquero can't, or vice versa. So check on your own. Usually the loading manuals that cover 45 Colt will have separate sections on it for original and some copies of the Colt single action, like the Italian copies, not You Birdie. Well, yeah, I guess You Birdie, and a few of the other ones. And then there'll be ones for like the Contender, where you can really crank them up, and other pistols out there. If you are loading for a rifle, there's a separate section on 45 Colt for rifles. And you just want to be careful. Knowing that there's different loads for 2 or 3 different versions of what you're going to end use. Just know that's out there and that the information varies, because you can hurt yourself. So anyhow, I got to decide if I'm going to shoot that one or the 30-30. I really love the idea of 45 Colt, but that 30-30 is so damn reliable and light and easy and fun. But anyway you shoot it, shooting lever actions is a blast. It's I marvel, I guess is the best word to put it. I marvel at how well they run and just the sounds and how intricate they are. It's just like a Swiss watch. And that to me is why I'm into guns. I love the machinery, the perfection, the taking these raw original goods, wood and steel, and turning them into something that to me is a work of art. And I marvel at that and the machining processes and the artisans that do that. It's amazing, right down to the finishes used. And I do the same thing on an AK, while they may not be as smooth, I just marvel at the simplicity sometimes, or the complication. It just depends what I'm looking at. And I think people are geared toward that. If you have a mechanical aptitude, or I was originally a mechanic by trade, I marvel at that. And that's why we're attracted to those things. And that's why you'll find a lot of people that were mechanics or mechanically inclined, or maybe engineers, they gravitate toward reloading too, the same thing. It's just, we find it interesting, right? So, that's what we were talking about. And we got talking about ammo prices. What was funny was, you can buy, I don't know, if you're a reloader, you got stuff stashed away for years and years, right? You maybe got into a caliber, got out of it for a while, but you never throw anything out. You got it all. And he had mentioned some bullets he was making for somebody, and a certain bullet brand. And he had some old ones laying around he was going to use that he couldn't get his hands on right away. And I said, yeah, I think I got some of those. I went out to the garage and I got them, and they were the same box and everything he had. And originally I said, well, I got some of those about that old, but they're 38s. And these are these original old Hornadies with the metal tabs here along the box to hold the corners in. And I got a bunch of these. I mean, this one's full. There's, let's see. There's some lead flat nose 38s, still look pretty new. They don't have maybe all the gloss they once had, but they're Hornadies and they'll work just fine. And then I had some few left, 25 caliber, 100 grain, 257 Spire points. And then I had what he had, down to the model number, 107 millimeter, 139 grain, .284 Spire points. And I had a whole brand new box of them. He was loading these up for somebody for hunting season. But there they are, the exact ones. And he says, I save everything. I said, funny, I have the same one sitting here. So anyways, kind of funny. And, like anything, a lot of that stuff, just the old packaging and stuff, starting to be worth money. And I don't know, money or not, if I have a use for them, I'll load them up. Or maybe he has a use and I'll send them to him, whatever. But we don't throw things out. We reconstitute them. We remake them. They always come in handy somehow, somewhere. When you least expect it is when you'll need it. And that's how I think gun people in general are. We don't save, or we do save every nut and bolt spare part. It goes in a drawer, and I have these loose um, numberings of different drawers for different parts and this and that. And when I need something, I go looking through, and I can usually find it, or something at least to get me through. So that being said, yeah, it was funny to find that. But you look at the pricing back then, and unfortunately, these didn't have price. Oh wait, hold on. No, they don't. They came from my father, I think those did, but I got a bunch of other ones from another friend from an estate sale. And you look at the prices on some of these things, and you go, holy cow, wasn't all that long ago. 3 years ago, I was buying primers for under $2 a tray. So like 20, I think it was $20 to $23 for 1,000 primers. And then I had a hard time paying $80 for 1,000 primers not too long ago. And, you look at places like Gunbroker and different stuff, and it's right there with the ammo. It's crazy, but it is what it is. The market is what it is. And I go, different people do different things. I go by the cost averaging thing. I buy it at market, and, whatever that market is, sometimes it's higher, sometimes it's lower. But at the end of the day, it's all going to average out. And we're not just saving and stockpiling it, right? We're shooting it. We're using it. So at some point, you got to buy more because it's, you can reload it. It's not completely replaceable, right? So we do what we do. But the pricing is amazing. But by the same token, it's a commodity that really never goes bad. I mean, those bullets they're just as usable as they are today as they were back in the 70s when those hit the store shelf, right? I'll tell you, I even have powder that's probably that old now. Some guys will say, well, it's probably no good anymore. Well, I have one particular can of Bullseye that, stored in a cool place, dry place. The outside's faded and whatnot, but I've used it recently. It works just fine. Is it as fresh as the stuff right off? Maybe not, but good enough, it is what it is. It's just, you save stuff and you make do. That's all. There's generations out there. And if you're a guy like me whose parents were raised by parents of the Depression, that lived through the Depression. My mom and dad were post-Depression, but their parents were born during it. And they experienced all of that stuff from, literally whole towns shutting down and drying up. My mom's from the UP of Michigan. When the iron ore mines went out, wasn't much left of the town. All the jobs were federal jobs to build highways that the federal government had put into place. And there were, stamps stamps for how much butter you could buy, gasoline, all these things. And living through that and growing up with it, they treat things differently. They buy things differently. They save differently. They do everything. And while a lot of people might scoff at that, or, growing up, oh, come on, Mom, what do we got to save? There's starving kids in India. Great, send it to India, that kind of thing, But looking back, it affects you and it changes you and it gives you a good basis for the future. Because frankly, look at the rest of the world, guys, and how it compares to the life we live today. I ran across a YouTube channel that was the most interesting thing I had watched in a while. And it was a gun channel. It was a guy interviewing his grandmother or great-grandmother in Tennessee. I can't remember the name of the channel. But she was talking about when she grew up on the farm and what they had to do. And he kept asking her, now, what is that you just said? And it's amazing how names for things back then have completely changed to now. Like you'd ask, well, what is whatever? What's a corn thistle or and when she explained it, you went, oh, okay, I know what it, but it was different. They were hand planting with hand corn planters, and the dad left the car at the top of the road because if he drove it down to the farmhouse, he couldn't get out for work the next day because of rain or whatever. Just such different times. And what we consider inconveniences today would have been blessed events to these people. How easy we have it in this country today is nothing short of mind numbing. I don't think I would love to do a theme park of sorts where everything you did there was going back in time. You go to this theme park and you wake up the next morning in a log cabin, and the excitement for the day is you're going to go out and learn how to milk cows and plant corn or whatever. I think the average person today in the U.S. would fall over dead before breakfast. I'm not kidding you. I am not kidding you how tough life was compared to now. They got up at the crack of dawn. Why? Because they're conserving light. You couldn't burn lanterns all night. They got up when it got light and they went to bed when it got dark, and that's because you had to run lanterns at other times, and that cost money. Crazy wash day, they said without a washing machine. Unbelievable. The things we have today and the conveniences, we live a life that has, first of all, never existed on this planet. And secondly, that I don't think most appreciate, even remotely. I was talking with my mother, and I think about the things I had that my kids don't even know what they were, like a rotary dial phone. Or we didn't get a microwave till I was in my teens, probably. We didn't know what a microwave was. You want to make a hot dog, you boiled a pan of water, or I mean, unbelievable, these things. Today, a kid couldn't make himself lunch, probably. Different things, the smallest of things. I think we didn't have a computer. Hell, we didn't have internet. I remember being at work and being shown the internet for the first time. Okay, you do this and you do this, and it makes these funny noises, and boom, AOL. Well, what's that? Well, it's a internet provider. Okay, well, what do you do now? Well, you can search things and ask questions. Okay, what do I need to do that for? That's what it was like. I remember downloading a song, and I'd start it at 8 o'clock at night, and I'd be lucky if when I woke up, the one song had been downloaded. Today, if it ain't instant, we're calling our internet provider going, what the hell's wrong with my internet? It's insane. It truly is. Car repairs. We rebuilt alternators and starters. We didn't just throw a new one in. Today I couldn't find, I would be hard pressed to find a new technician that knew how to rebuild a carburetor. I mean, I get it. It's old technology, but it's just a change, the monstrous change. And if we had to go backwards, even just a little bit, oh man, oh man, I can't even fathom it. I think I'd be okay. And I think a lot would be. But I hope that never comes. But all I can tell you is this: if I were you, I'd be soaking up every bit of knowledge you could from older generations, whether it's your father, your grandfather, your great-great-grandfather. Ask them what it was like. Ask them how they did it. Save the things they have and save the tools they have. You might not even know what it is, but one day it might be really useful. If you don't know what it is, ask them what it is. How was this used? How did you do it? Because sometimes the old stuff is the simplest stuff, and it still has so much relevance today. Incredible amounts of relevance. I tried to teach my son every day. I taught him something about how to do something or fix something or whatever the case may be. I tried to fill his head with the knowledge I have, the knowledge given to me by my father, my grandfather, everything I could. Read books. And buy books, guys. Buy books. I've seen several other channels repeat this over the last few years that, yeah, the internet's a great place. You can go there and ask questions. But when it goes zoop, down to a little dot in the middle of the screen and the power's out, where are you getting that info? Books never go away. You had a book, a garage sale or something, you see a book on reloading or a book on hunting or a book on anything, buy it. They're $2, a dollar, whatever they are. Buy a box of them, put them in the garage, read them as you can, flip through them, look at them. One day they might just be very, very, very useful. Different things. Every year I remember as a kid, and I'm sorry we're not on a gun topic right now, but I promise you'll learn something and you'll appreciate something. And we always get around to guns, so bear with me for a little bit. Every year I remember my grandmother having a garden, and they'd have corn and tomatoes and carrots and all the usual stuff. Not a very big garden. It was a suburban house, right? But for a suburban house, he had a pretty good garden going. And they'd always have fresh stuff. And my mom would grow tomatoes, stuff like that, but not a big garden. And one year, after I've been living in the country for a while, I thought, I'm going to make a garden. And I got it in and planted, and some stuff starting to come up. And then I ended up having to have surgery. I remember getting back. I had asked my kids to weed the garden while I was in the hospital, because when it's starting out, that's important. You really got to get it weeded. Sometimes it's hard to tell the plants from the weeds, right? When they're little. And of course, they didn't get around to it. It wasn't important enough. And I got home to a mess. And I went straight from the hospital. Day after surgery, I was on my hands and knees in the garden weeding it after abdominal surgery. And yeah, I paid for that. It was really stupid. But anyhow, you can't believe how it can be very hard to get a good garden going. And you need some basic knowledge to know how to amend the soil and how to till it and what to put in and where to plant and how to plant and what to plant together or not together and all these things. And it's a learned process, and it's not as easy as toss a seed in a solo cup with some dirt and grow it. How much water do they need? What sunshine? All these things. And it seems so basic, but trust me, it's not. Start a little one. Grow something out back or in a pot or a raised bed, or just why? If for nothing else, then have fresh tomatoes and a couple cucumbers or something. You learn about beans and how to eat those fresh or store them or dry them. There's a lot to it, guys. Maybe it's nothing you enjoy, but at least you tried it. Maybe you've learned if you learned one thing that didn't work and one thing that did, you're doing great. You're doing great. And you're a step ahead. And maybe when you need it, you'll know how. Excuse me 1 second, guys. This allergies. Sorry, I just wanted to mute it so you didn't have to hear that. Anyhow, whatever it is, if it's reloading, if you've never reloaded before, go buy a basic reloading set from any of the manufacturers, whether it's RCBS or Hornady or Lee or any of them. You can get kind of a basic set with a press, maybe a powder measure, a scale, all the basic stuff essentially, except maybe a set of dies you got to buy for whatever caliber. And they usually come with the book too, so you can get the different loads and everything. Watch a few videos and try it. Try it out. It's nowhere near as hard as it seems. It's about consistency and paying attention. Hey, Rush Hour, thank you very much for the super chat. We appreciate it. It comes in very handy, and it's always used back to the channel. Always. We're just starting to get a couple here and there, and so it really hasn't added up to much. But when it does, and we purchase something for the channel to show you, we will certainly show you, and you guys can know you took part in that and made it possible. So just know that that I'll always mention it. So thank you, Rush Hour. Appreciate that. Anyhow, so yeah, get a basic reloading set. When I first started, I bought a RCBS reloading set, and it's the Rock Crusher Premium or Rock Crusher Supreme set. Oh, mainly because that's what my father used, but it's a great setup. You can probably, I know there's presses and basic kits out there for under $200. Maybe for a nice rock chucker setup like that, $300. I don't know. But you can pick whatever caliber you want to reload, and you'll have some brass on hand from stuff you shot. And with very little else outside the kit, maybe a couple little things, $2, $3 stuff, $5 stuff, you can start reloading. Go get yourself 100 primers and 100 bullets and a pound of powder, and you're good to go. Go try it. Learn something. If you don't know how or don't understand it, learn it. People are willing to teach you. If you have questions on it, ask. We will answer it. Speaking of that, that's enough of me rambling. Why don't you guys throw some questions in here and I will answer them. I'm going to go into the chat right now and we'll jump in where we left off, and I will address them as we come. So let's find my way here. I missed a bunch here. So we had talked about Circle 10 AK rebranding under the name CRH Customs. So we'll get here. Joe dated a few blue waffles. Rush Hour. I went to look at an AK. It felt good, but to hold, and they had about 5 of them. And is there a special model that I should ask about? I don't know about special, but I'll tell you how about what's out there right now new that you should avoid. And basically, I'll say avoid the Visca, the Century Visca. It may be a fine rifle. It may hold up for a little while. I don't know, but I know they just haven't proven themselves. And there's plenty of imports available from Zastava, Cougar, the Romanian ones, Wassers, etc. So Cougar, Zastava, and Arsenal are readily available out there, as are Polish guns right now from WPA, a couple others, the Barill's out there. Go with an import if you're going to for your first one. Not buy whatever you like in those brands and just avoid the one. The Sams are great. Any of them. If you got one in particular you're looking at, let us know. We'll tell you, or do some research. You'll find out pretty quick in the AK community that people will tell you real quick what to avoid. How's that sound? Let's see. It's okay, Rock. The itching goes away eventually. That goes back to the blue waffle. All right, back to the fun. Let's see. I feel like a crazy man, but I want the 20 I shot. I hear you, man. I feel like a crazy man. Yeah, I get it. That's exactly it. Yes. Not sure if you discussed this yet, but would you rather the new milled mini jack or the Sam 7K? I just saw that. So for those of you that don't know, Polish, the people building Polish rifles over there, which the Barilla is built by the original, what the hell is the company name? Radom. And then there's the WPA, the Foxes and stuff. But the WPA is now building a milled receiver AK. It's a little different than what you see on the Arsenal products. It's more it's got some of the things left over in the milling from like a AK-1 variant. I shouldn't. I'm not saying it. It's not like it's got a screw-in barrel. It's a pinned barrel, but there's a few different maybe bosses and other things left over, and the lightning cuts are a little different, stuff like that. But it looks very nice. Their paint looks better than Arsenal, and I'm sure it is. It's not hard to do that, but looks like a solid receiver. I haven't got any word yet as to how their forging process is or what they're doing to mill them and everything. But I'm sure that'll be coming down the pipe pretty soon. They look pretty cool. What would I buy, that or the Sam 7? The Sam 7. Simply because those are proven. And it's just so damn cool. I love my Sam 7 44K with the brace. Awesome gun. Yeah, I feel these are going to be pretty neat, though, too. And the price is like half. So that's a big plus. If one of you guys is going to try one out, let us know how it goes. It's not high on my list right now, but, there's a lot of things I end up with that wasn't high on my list just to bring it to you guys. So we'll see. I got to flip over to live chat instead of top chat. Hope it didn't blow it all out for me. No. Okay. Let's see. Where are we at? Let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to find my place. Here we are. Okay, rush hour. How do you learn how to make reloads? Do you just take classes or YouTube? It's really, when you break it down into steps, it's an easy process. So the hardest and longest part that'll take you is the brass prep, okay? And that includes, in my eyes at least, depriming and sizing. So you take I usually clean it first, but other guys will run it through before they clean it. I don't like to run, especially if it's super crusty. I don't care to run crusted up old brass through my nice shiny dies, right? So I'll usually clean them first. I used to just tumble them. Now I've got an ultrasonic and I tumble the dry. You'll find out as time goes on, you get more into it, you'll try all different things. But easiest thing is a cheap tumbler. You can get one at Harbor Freight, or you can buy like a Lee or Lehman's. I forget what brand, the orange and black one I use. But you clean the brass. You can do it with an ultrasonic, soap and water, all kinds of things. But easiest way is to tumble it with some corn cob. Again, sounds, well, where do I get a tumbler and corn cob? Just go to the store. They got it. Don't worry. Harbor Freight has them. You clean the brass, then you deprime it, meaning taking out the old primer, and size the brass. So it sizes it back down to the original size. And then to keep up with getting that brass back to original, you may or may not have to trim the brass, which is, you just put on a little rotary thing. It's like a mini hand-powered drill or a mill, and it just shaves down the end. And then you chamfer and deburr the brass, which again sounds complicated. It's a little tool about this big, about $3. You put on the end and you twist it a couple of times, and boom, your brass is ready to go. From there, you prime it. You can use a hand primer, or all the presses have a priming device built in. It's just put the primer in, put the shell in, pull the handle down, put a new primer in it. So now you've got your brass cleaned, sized, and reprimed, ready to go. From there, it's as simple as looking up a recipe in a book that comes with the kit, or you buy it separate, and figuring out, okay, how many grains of powder and what weight bullet do I want to use. So the kit will come with a scale usually and a powder drop. But you could load right off the scale too. Weigh out the amount of powder you use, and that's very simple too. Drop the powder in and then press the bullet down. And the book will give you what the overall case dimension should be. So meaning how far you push that particular bullet down. And as long as you're following the specs laid out in the book, you're not going to have an issue. It's that easy, done round. Maybe I'll do a quick video for you guys on it. Not necessarily the whole process, but kind of in a nutshell. At least go through the steps and show the equipment, because YouTube's not too big on those type of videos. So, but I could show you the equipment and all that and tell you the process. And once you see it, it's very simple. When guys say it's hard, they may be talking about load development. You load a bunch of different amounts of powder and take them out and figure out what's best for your gun, or what the overall length is. Maybe you vary it a little because you slugged the chamber and you found out your chamber is a little longer, or whatever the case may be. But to reload basic factory ammunition is really, really easy. Easy peasy. You just have to pay attention and not have distractions so you don't make mistakes, and it's easy. So yeah, YouTube's a good source, but uh, there's plenty. The book that it comes with outlines it completely in the front of the reloading manuals. There's a chapter or two or more about how to do basic reloading, and you could really do it cheap and simple. Garage sales are a good way to do it. eBay, Facebook Marketplace, whatever the case may be. There's always reloading stuff on there whenever I look. Cheap. So make sure you check out those sources if you want to get into it. It's really it's a lot of fun too, and there's kind of a little pride in ownership or pride in, hey, I made that and look, it worked and it even hit the target and hey, it even grouped well, or maybe you take your first deer with it. That's really cool too. So like I said, don't be afraid. Get out there, learn something, try it new, and you can get in really cheap. Don't be afraid. Do a little comparison shopping. RCBS seems to be a little more money than Hornady. The two main brands you'll find in the stores are Hornady and RCBS. You don't have to buy their top of the line, but when you buy it packaged up, it's fairly cheap anyways. You could probably get in for $300 total, start reloading, or less. Anyhow, let's see. Let's see. We talked about the milled one. 100% got to have people you can learn from. Yes. Zastava makes a hunting rifle. Yes, Zastava. Not only do they make fabulous world-class AK-47s or their variant thereof, but they make really, really nice bolt guns. Very, very nice bolt guns. If you've never seen them, take a look on their website. Nice stuff. Hard to beat. Wonder if it's also called an M70. Yes, Zastava has a bolt action called an M70. They do. I found that out by searching Gunbroker. Type in M70 and boom. There's more M70s out there than there are the M70s we know. Let's see. I had a Vaquero from 70s in 44 mag, but traded it for the 629 no dash, and I love that gun. It was a nail driver. Which one did you love? The Vaquero was a nail driver or the 629? Both great rifles. I love my Vaqueros. I got into that stuff because my dad was a huge collector of original Colt single actions. Some Gen 1 stuff, but mostly Gen 2 and Gen 3. But every color, finish, caliber, barrel length, you name it. I mean, oh my God. And everyone pictures the quintessential 4 3/4 inch 45 long Colt single action. But you got into bunt lines and bird's head grips. And some of these single actions had barrels a foot and a half long, damn near. It was crazy. And even some really fine collectible stuff, like stuff in Colt has a master engraver. His name is a black man. His name's Alvin White. And just what an artisan. We've got engraved Alvin White single actions, just some beautiful museum stuff. Really, really nice. And I always appreciated them. And unfortunately, a lot of the collection was sold off to put yours truly through college and at least help out. And some of it just lost interest over the years into other things. But the stuff that really meant something, we still have. So that's nice. It's nice to look back. But we never had much that you could shoot. Unfortunately, we had stuff that you couldn't turn the cylinder, let alone shoot it, or you degrade the value. But we also had shooters and had a lot of fun with it. And the Vaquero is a great way to do it, although it's got one less click when you cock it back than a Colt does. And it uses a transfer bar, which, yes, is safer, but it's Sometimes I'd almost rather shoot like a Uberti or a copy than the Vaquero because it's got the original 4 clicks, and then it's more true to the original. And frankly, Uberti and a few others make stuff that's really, really nice today. By no means do I consider them cheap Italian copies anymore. Really nice stuff. But the Vaquero is a wonderful gun. I've dry fired that thing. I've probably worn it out dry firing it, let alone how much I've shot it. But I'm always looking for a pair to that one. I got to find another one. I got a stainless 4 3/4 45 Colt in polished stainless with the black hard grips, and I really like it. Really a great gun. So natural, probably the most natural pointing weapon or handgun in the world. It points a single action. The reason that gun has stayed so popular, and kind of less so today, but well, not even you should. The resurgence of cowboy action shooting and SAS and all. There's an entire industry developed around smoothing out these pistols and making them faster and all this stuff. It's really brought so many more people into the fold. So they are very, very popular. But, it's a great sidearm when you're deer hunting, all kinds of stuff. I pull it out quite a bit, and I've got a really nice rig. I run with it, and it just feels cool. But there's probably no better natural pointing weapon in the world than a Colt single action. It's like an extension of your hand. Just the angles and how it was made and developed, the ergonomics of it are fabulous. You don't. It's been said by a lot of people, my father included, that you don't aim a Colt pistol. You what was the term? You don't aim it. You just I don't know the exact word he used, but it's like you don't have to aim. You don't have to, one eye close out of the sights and all that. It's just that gun comes up and boom, it's a natural pointing weapon. And for the distances it was used for, in most cases, in a defensive role or an offensive role, you weren't making crazy long shots with them. And even if you were, it's still a very, very natural, intrinsically accurate weapon. It just is. So if you haven't shot one, grab one and go shoot it. Hell, go get yourself a cheap Heritage 22 long 22 long rifle single action. Those are cool. Very cool. I've got a Heritage. I love shooting that thing. It's like a $139 gun. Never had so much fun in my life for $139. Great time. I'll have to do a video on that one. I did a little bit on it in a video called Pocket Pistols, and it wasn't really a pocket pistol, but I threw it in there, and God, so much fun. If you get one that's got the 22 mag cylinder that comes with it, man, that thing's trucking. That's a fun round. Talk about a little varmint round around the house, squirrels, chipmunks, stuff like that. That's a great little round. 22 Magnum's really a cool round. It's if you look at the ballistics of that thing compared to 5.7, you guys are all familiar with like the FN or the Ruger 5.7. 22 Magnum is kind of a neat cartridge. Let's see. Originals had larger frame and could handle hotter 45 Colts. Newer model Vaqueros are smaller and only cowboy loads recommended. Correct, Chase. That's how it was. The original ones had the larger, thicker frames, and they slimmed them down. They still can handle more than an original Colt can, but you should probably treat them along the lines of an original Colt as far as reloading rounds for them, or even buying rounds like stuff like Buffalo Bore and stuff like that. And frankly, do you need those rounds out of a revolver? Probably not. But in a rifle, those heavier loads do come in handy. And man, that gun can pack such a wallop, but yet the recoil isn't bad on it. It's very mild recoil for the chunk of lead you're chucking out there, let me tell you. Rush hour. I've never been deer hunting in my life. Hope I can go soon, only if I can stay out of my rig because freight is good now. Got to keep America moving. Damn right you do. Good job, and hey, thank you. Thank you. Everybody deserves their thanks for what they contribute, right, to this country, whatever that may be. And sometimes there's, things are very important, and that's one of them. The entire supply chain, for that matter. You're not going to fix one end and expect it to just work fine. I mean, look at all these ships off the coast, right? And let's say you go to 2 shifts or 3 shifts working 24 hours a day and you get all that freight in. Okay, great. Now where's the bottleneck? Well, the trains, right? Are there enough trains, enough train cars? Can they get them in and out, load them fast enough, unload them fast enough? And then what happens when they get to the depot? Can the trucks get it moving again? And on and on and on and on. It's quite frankly, this isn't going to be fixed overnight. It's going to take a long, long time. And while I don't doubt anything, I think Americans are able to figure out and do just about anything. We've proved it time and time again. It's I hate to say it, sometimes maybe you need a crisis to get excuse me, I dropped something. Maybe sometimes you need a crisis to get people moving, well, I don't want or wish for anything like that. Maybe just a little fire under the seat, maybe, to get them moving, heat their behinds up a little bit, get things going here. But everybody needs to work toward this goal because there's so many people in that chain, from the guy ordering it to the guy using whatever that product is coming. Everybody contributes to a supply chain. And we've for years now, we've had this just-in-time inventory system, and things get there like in a car factory. A seat may arrive 30 seconds before it's supposed to go in that exact car. And they have the seat plants on site at the factories where it arrives just in time for the guy to grab it and throw it in that car and bolt it down. And so if a supply line is running that tight, think about the challenges when it goes down, of not only how to catch up, but how to keep it moving. It's complicated. It's very, very complicated. And it's going to be hard to overcome this. So I would tell each and every one of us, because each one of us really are a piece in that supply line, whether we're the end user or the beginning manufacturer or somewhere in between. It's all of us. So if everybody gave a little bit extra, we would get this thing back in shape without the help of, the nanny state to help us. Pick yourself up by your bootstraps and contribute. What does that mean? Go shoot more bullets? I don't know. But you know what I'm talking about. Let's see. Joe Morgan, a guy named Drew Bally will get a hold of you. Gave him your, he has a bunch of 223, 5.56 bullets for reloading. I figured, okay, cool. Can always use more components, right? For those of you new to reloading, that's what they're called, right? Bullets, brass, primers, powder, whatever. They refer to them as components. Let's see. It's all about storage conditions. Yes. Paternal grandparents grew up in the Depression. Both had rough childhoods. I bet when you talk to them, not one of them will say that they remember it as being miserable, or if they thought of themselves as poor, or if they went without, or that they missed anything. Most refer back to those times with really good memories, and they cherish them. And they'll all tell you, we never knew we were poor. It was just a different day and time, and there were different levels of expectations. Unfortunately, everything from our children to us as consumers, I think we have raised the bar as to what we expect so high that to even take a step back is tough. Look at supply chain issues, and you walk in a store and there's some guy yelling, why can't I get this and that? Oh, Jesus. What would they have done back in the day when they had to order out of the Sears Roebuck catalog? You'd order a shotgun, it showed up 8 weeks later or something. Everything is this now mentality. Well, we got to get away from that a little bit. 22 Plinkster, I think, saw the video. What video? About the grandmother? No, I don't know if that was him or not. I don't think it was, but it was cool. They lived in Tennessee. I know that. If you search it and you come across it, you won't be able to stop watching it. It's so good. She talked about them shooting, and the kids, they had to hide the gun in the house because the dad was away working all the time. It's different. I mean, when you hear some of it, just such a different time and how things went compared to now. Hattori Hanzo's here. Hey, good to see you, man. I cannot bitch as I will never have the same hardships they had. Absolutely. And that's how I feel about it. And as parents, hopefully we hope our children don't have those hardships. We hope. But you can certainly raise them to, when challenged or when facing adversity, that they can step up to the plate rather than bitch and whine about it, right? Dixie Living, hey, good to have you. Good person. Always upbeat. Good to hear from you. There's always good comments, upbeat comments, always looking at the bright side of things. Hard times make you self-reliant, and you aren't wasteful. We still save leftover food and make soup when the refrigerated container is full. Yep, absolutely. What did you used to do with the holiday ham? Everybody used to take the bone and make some split pea soup, right? Today, you ask someone, hey, can I have you going to make soup with that? And they look at you like you got a third eye. What do you mean? What kind of soup? Ham soup? Whatever the case may be. It's like saving brass and all that stuff. Nobody thinks about it anymore because it's too easy to, hell, you don't even have to go to the store anymore. You just click a few buttons and it shows up at your door, right? Some people got a lot to learn, boy, let me tell you. Or maybe how to need to change their expectations. Zombies are not the biggest problem on The Walking Dead. It's a modern civilization trying to cope with an agricultural society. Bingo, 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 bingo. I was a huge fan of The Walking Dead. I didn't miss a week. It was like the Super Bowl at our house every week. Sunday night, we'd plan dinner by it. We'd have food, snacks, this, that, all laid out, everyone, the TV ready to go. And I loved that show. And then I don't know what season, I'd miss a week here or there. And then eventually it just faded out. Somewhere around the time they were living in that gated community, and the guy with Lucille or whatever, the baseball bat, he was around, somewhere around there. I kind of faded out of it. I keep meaning to go back and check it out, but I just haven't gotten back there. It just seemed like the same mistakes time after time. It got a little And some of the great original characters that probably shouldn't have been written out that quick started going away. I don't know. But it's a great show. But yes, modern society trying to live in an agricultural society. And guys, in a lot of ways, we're still an agricultural society, but in a lot of ways, we're only 50 years removed from that agricultural society. Maybe not even that. And certainly in some areas of the country, we're way less than that. But you go back 50 years, and even the little town I live in, you raised your food. You sold what you produced to buy the other things you needed. And that was that. You didn't go do a job somewhere and that just paid you cash to pay your living. In the cities it did, but get outside the city, not far. You didn't have suburban sprawl. And that lifestyle was an agricultural, self-sustaining lifestyle. Your power may not be run to the house yet. You lit the house with other means and heated with other means, and a gas pipeline coming to your house or an electric wire coming to your house. and you lived off what you grew, sold the surplus, and used that to either barter or what you got for it to fill in the other areas of your needs and wants. And that's really hard for some people to even imagine dealing with today. And let me tell you, work from home was a whole different definition. That's a great, yeah, that was a great thing, wasn't it? Yeah, working from home had a whole different definition. Wow. But they do make you stronger, right? The Tori Hanzo zombies are, that's a repeat, or I read it. I'm sorry. Martin Co. got here late. Well, good to have you. Better late than never. Thanks for coming over. We appreciate it. There's a movie called Secondhand Lions. I saw that movie. What was that about? I just remember it being great. One of the great lines is you need something, get yourself. Better still learn to do without. Okay. What was that movie? Secondhand Lions. I saw it. Weren't they on a farm out in the agricultural area and there was a lion, something, two old guys right on the porch or something? That was a really cool movie. If I can't remember it all, guys, if that's the one they're referring to, but if it is, watch it. Rent it and watch it. Great movie. You'll enjoy it no matter what perspective you have or what subjects you like. It's that good a movie. Rush Hour. I am from the city. I never did none of that, but I have had stories about that type of life. Yep. Trust me, guys, I'm born and raised in the city. Born and raised in the city of Chicago. I was a city boy all my life. I know the streets. I know how to get by. I know how to do what it takes in a city to do what you do. And I was a police officer in the city. When I moved to the country here, now I had a big introduction to it because my grandfather taught me tons of things about more rural lifestyle, and we spent a lot of summers up in northern Wisconsin and the UP of Michigan. So my relatives up there were rural, and I learned about hunting and gardening and fishing and all that stuff, at least the baseline. But when I got out here and I was doing things around the property, and we wanted chickens and we wanted cows and all this stuff. And as I tried different things and learned different things, I swear, I think the neighbors on Sunday morning would bring out their lawn chairs and a bowl of popcorn and sit at their fence line across the street or next door and watch. Go, hey, honey, come on, it's time. What's the city slicker going to do today? And I did everything from flip bobcats over to flood half my backyard out. They couldn't understand why I had planted my 5 acres and was then trying to lug sprinklers and hundreds of feet of hose around to water it all when I put my grass in. Yeah, because that's what you did in the city. You sprinkled it, right? Well, that don't happen out here. Your brand new well, yeah, that didn't work out too well. But you learn, and sometimes it's costly. Sometimes it just costs you a little of your, what's the word I'm looking for? Your, you just, you turn red a little bit, and you're the butt of jokes a little bit, but that's okay. You learn from it. But yeah, I flipped a bobcat over one day. I was actually building part of the motocross track for my kids, and I'm rolling up and down the face of the jump to pack it all in. And I don't know if something distracted me or what, but it had different controls than I was used to than the one we had at work. And that bucket was up high. I wasn't paying attention, and I rolled up and I hit something, and the bucket went up a little, and I went right over. And it probably only took a second or two, but that was the longest ride you will ever have in your life, is that second or two as it goes over. And then you're crammed in the top. I don't remember if I had my belt down or not. I think I had the bar down, but maybe not the belt. I don't know. And I was crumpled up in the roof of the cab, upside down. I just remember hot fluid leaking all over me. I had coolant and oil, and it's a diesel. So I'm covered in this black tarry oil. And if any of you guys have had diesel pickups or worked on anything, you know what that oil is like. It'll permanently stain anything it touches. It's crazy. And it's still running. And I'm worried about accidentally hitting a control and that bucket coming down, taking my leg off or my arm off or something. So I'm trying with all my might to reach the key just to shut it down. And I couldn't get to it. I'm stretching. I finally got it. I shut it off. And oh, God. I did have my belt on, I think. Maybe it was a bar, but whatever it was, I released and it dropped me into, holy shit, I fell on my head. And I'm crammed in the bottom of this thing. It's upside down. I'm covered in slippery oil and I'm trying to get out of it. It was a project. I was exhausted by the time I got out of it. No one was around. I left it where it lay and I walked back up to the house. And don't you know, the kids were getting off the school bus right about that time. And I just remember them looking at me and all you could see was white eyes. The rest of me was just black. And I think they said, the school bus driver told me, they said something like, look what my daddy did or something. I don't know. But I was a mess. And my wife walks out. She takes one look at me and looks at the Bobcat. And we had rented the Bobcat. And she looks at me, looks at the Bobcat and goes running. She goes, oh my God, what'd you do to the Bobcat? Wasn't worried about me at all. Worried about the Bobcat, what it was going to cost us. Anyhow, it didn't turn out to be much. But yeah, rental guy came to pick it up. And he took a look at the back cover, engine cover. He did something to straighten it, closed it, got in it, drove it on the trailer, and drove out without saying a word. But I don't think he ever charged me for it. I don't remember. Anyhow, if you grew up in a city or the country, don't worry. Just if you find interest in anything, even if you don't, read a little bit about it. Find out about it. Questions you never knew or never thought to ask. Whether it's growing something or shooting something or reloading something or raising lambs. Find out, when do lambs lamb? When do they have their lambs? How does it work? How do you keep a flock of them? Little things. It's so much easier than you think. It's just the little details you need a little help on that'll make all the difference. And to have that plethora of knowledge stuffed in your head, a little bit of it, like me, I bet I could win Jeopardy. I know a little bit about everything, just enough to be dangerous, But it's amazing, and it's always something else to learn about. And for any of you, someone asked me to do a video on just my thoughts about today's world, firearms, and my thoughts on raising children. I think it came after I did the video about my son that passed away. And the person thought that just seeing what they had seen, knowing what they knew about my son and some of the videos and all, and said, you seem to have raised some pretty good kids. Do you have any tips for young parents and this and that? And yeah, I do. I got a lot of them. And maybe I'll put that video out there. But all I can tell you is give them all the opportunities in the world, expose them to everything, because you'll be amazed at what they find interesting and what they don't. And, kids can be kids. They're interested in everything and they try it and they drop it. And they try something, you spend some money on it and they drop it. But at the end of the day, don't worry about the money. Get in slow. Do what you got to do to keep it cheap till they show that interest. But expose them to everything, because you never know what that one thing is that is going to take that kid from here and just launch them like a rocket ship, whatever that may be. I still say the best thing my dad ever did was buy me a mini bike when I was a kid. I wanted a dirt bike so bad, and it took forever. I saved money, this and that. But the best thing he ever did was that. And then the second best thing wasn't a good thing, but my dad wasn't around a ton. He was a businessman. He was out making money. He's like me. He's running, making money, And I look back, and that's not always the most important thing, guys, but it is what makes the world go round. So don't knock yourself for doing it, because we all do it. But if there's one thing I could say is you can't replace that time with those kids. and it goes by faster than you'd ever think. And I know you've all heard that a million friggin' times, but you'll never know how true it is until there's no way to spend that time with that child. Um, and how those little moments mean so much more than you would ever think, ever. So just know whatever time you're spending is not wasted at all. Even when you think you're wasting time, you're not wasting time, because that time you spend with them is good for you and them. It's good for everything. And just expose them. Let them be kids. Let them hurt themselves. Let them fall. Let them, whatever, you know. Don't be a helicopter parent. Let them make their mistakes. Let them own up to those mistakes. Let them learn from them, and let them be great when they're great. Um, and don't. There's one thing I would probably change. It's how hard I pushed them, but that's a fine line. I don't know what to tell you there. It's, too many parents today don't push their kids enough. And I guess I raised mine like I was raised. And maybe it is too much at times, but kids, I think, can do more and hold more than anyone would ever think. People used to ask me about my kids racing motorcycles. And, and I'm not nothing. I'll show you. I had a kid that could sail through the air, 40 feet in the air, 80 feet, clear a gap of 80 feet. And just amazing things. And the throttle control, you think about throttle control and braking and shifting and all these things that come into play. And people think, well, my kid's on training wheels. He could never do that. He can only ride. You have no idea what a child that age can do. We sell these kids short. And it's kind of like the court system when we say they're not adults. We can't try them as adults. Let me tell you something. Kids are way more capable and way more intelligent than 99% of parents ever give them credit for. The average parent would have seen my son on a motorcycle and what he could do with a motorcycle, and their jaw would hit the ground. They have no idea. Racing parents kind of take it for granted because we see it every day. But the average person goes, no way. Even the crappiest kid out there would amaze people. The slowest, crappiest kid would amaze people. And it's like that with everything, not just motorcycles. Let them do things. Be safe about it. Give them all the safety they need and that you can afford. And don't be stupid, but let them do what they do. And you'll be amazed. Kids that are allowed to break out a little bit, do more than the average kid might be allowed to do, are the kids that succeed. Those kids that are protected, held back, not exposed to things. Oh, don't talk about that in front of the kids. No, stop. Yeah, in my opinion, it's my opinion. That's all. Kids should know everything. My kids knew my finances. They knew everything. My girls know everything there's to know about mine and my wife's finances for the most part, and within reason. But there's no secrets, that way they come to you when there's a problem. Never make anything a problem. We'll talk about it, when it happens, we'll get it handled. We're not going to yell and scream about it then. We'll talk about it later for sure, but we're going to handle the issue because time is always the issue. Not money, not this, not that. That can all come. But time is what runs out on you when you're trying to fix problems, right? Or problems that need immediate answers. Time is the problem. So don't hold back. Tell me, and we'll figure it out. We'll talk about it later. There will be repercussions later, but I'm never going to yell and scream at you right then and there. We'll get it handled. First, we got to fix the imminent problem, right? That kind of thing. I don't know. I'm going to do a video on it. We'll see where it takes you. But you can't let these kids, we don't challenge them enough today. We really don't. They need to be shown things are tough, but that they can do it. And it builds such accomplishment in them when they get it done then. And it builds better, stronger people, better, stronger community, better, stronger country. How's that sound? Um, let's see. So don't use being from the city as an excuse. Okay, Rush Hour, get it done. You can do it. Um, when are they going to make a rare breed trigger for the AK? I don't know. What's going on that scene? I haven't heard much other than I think the government backed off a bit maybe now. I don't know. Again, Rush Hour, thanks for the what do you call it? Super chat. I'm not financially stable, Rock. I'm working on future proofing my folks' food, water, meds, bills, etc., and upgrading to modern firepower this last year. God bless, man. You got to do what you got to do. You got to make hay while the sun shines, and you got to put some of it back, right? For the winter. Where is PSA finding these toolkits? Not sure. I could probably find out. I just got to dig a little deeper. I might know a man that just knows about that with PSA. So I'll try and find out for you guys. Why get an AK pistol over an AK rifle with folding stock? Well, that's a good question, and I kind of had that question come up lately. Well, let's talk about it. We know in an AR, kind of ballistically speaking, the minimum barrel length is probably 10 and a half to 11 inches or so, where you develop, you got a full powder burn, all that good stuff. In an AK, frankly, I don't know. But I got to assume it's a little longer because you got slower burning powder and whatnot. But forget about that for a minute. From a handling point of view, the crink or crink off is a pistol with a stock, right? Or as we have it here in the States for the most part, other than SBRs, pistol with a brace. Very handy, very useful, as I've proved in videos, fully capable out to 100 yards plus. But if I guess it's, how many AKs do you have? Are you going to have one? I'd have a rifle with a folding stock. Absolutely. First and foremost. And with a folding stock, it's easy to transport. It's got a lot of pluses to it. Certainly more velocity. And in the AK, I'd almost argue that it's more important because that cartridge loses velocity exponentially once it gets out a ways. It starts to drop like a rock. Certainly much quicker than the 223. You're going to get a bit more range out of the 223 than or maybe a better way to put it is maybe you get out just as far, but that 7.62 drops off much faster if I recall right. But I would probably go to folding stock over a pistol originally. The pistol's got a lot of cool factor to it, no doubt. And it's very handy. It really is. But, and I don't mind them, but I think if I had to pick one, I'd take a rifle because I've been thinking about that lately because of the barrel and a couple other offerings out there. Do I want a barrel pistol or rifle? And I think because I don't have any other Polish guns, I think the rifle's the way to go on that one. So I guess it depends kind of what you're looking at, what you already got, what the end use is, that kind of thing. I figure if they could get tool kits, maybe tool crink kits in the future. Man, that would do something to the market, huh? Because those crink kits are going $2,500, $3,000. I see them for a lot of money. Attempted to get a WBP Fox with laminated wood. Isn't that a pretty rifle? I was looking at them too the other day, and they got the natural color. I really like Polish laminated wood. It's just pretty. I don't know, really nice. And then they have one that's just a tad orange. And man, that gun looks so good. I thought, and it's a full-on AKM, right? So it's fully, you can modify it any way you want. The only thing it has is that little tang hanging off at the back of the receiver for that rail system. And that, a lot of guys will hack and Dremel the goddamn thing off or something, but I don't know. I'd probably leave it, but that's kind of a drag on that gun. I wish they did it without it. I don't know. Brass Tard's here. What's up, Brass Tard? I haven't seen you in a while. Good to have you, man. Thanks for coming over. I was told today by a guy in Poland that they don't make any weapons over there, and I am a liar for saying they do sell weapons that wind up in places like Syria. Really? So this guy lived in Poland and is admonishing you for saying that his country builds weapons that end up in less than, let's say, first world countries. I don't know. I wonder why he thought that. Let's see. Did I read that right? Told by a guy in Poland. So he was in Poland. Man, does their media lie to him as bad as ours does? Is that what it is? I don't know. Because we know there's companies over there. Or are there? Are you saying that maybe those aren't coming from Poland? Is that what you're saying? Or are you saying this guy's so unenlightened that he doesn't believe it? I got to believe you're talking about the second. Maybe do it when prepping some 7.62. Good info. Problem I have is primers. Well, primers are coming back. I saw them for the second time now at a local big box store. I was able to buy small rifle primers. I've seen large rifle, large pistol. I have not been lucky enough to come across a small pistol. That's been a problem. And while, don't get me wrong, it's not like they're everywhere. I've found twice in a year, I found primers. 3 times actually. Once toward the beginning, but lately I've only found them twice. And once there was literally one sleeve of 100 on the shelf. I grabbed them anyways. But I've been finding the small rifle military primers, the CCI 41s. And stuff's starting to pop up more and more. So it's getting better. You just need to be consistent on checking on your places. And like I said months ago on the ammo search, be questioning the people at the store. Ask them questions. Befriend them a little bit. Find out where they are. Call around. Calling, though, God, these people are so, God bless them, but they're sick of hearing it, I'm sure. Stop in when you can. Check the different places, and you'll come across them. Worst case scenario, try and get some online. I know some prices can be crazy, but I got some from Midway USA. Actually had them on their site. I got some there. And Gunbroker, if you had to, there's a few people on there selling at decent prices. Right now, I found kind of the going price. Retail without anybody gouging you. Well, they're all gouging, but the new price, let's say where it's settled, that I think is a decent price because it's what I've seen at the bigger retailers, is about $80 a thousand. So expect to pay that. If you can get anywhere close to that on eBay, you're doing good. Or not eBay, Gunbroker. Let's see. Colt Single Action Army just feels good in the hand. It does. It feels great. Brass starts reloading .42 Berdan lately, and won an original round from 1888 on Gunbroker today. Be nice to compare to the reloads. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, it is. It's always good on a cartridge like that where you don't see it every day. It's cool. Folks in Poland may not be aware of weapons manufacturing in Poland unless they work in the factory. I don't think they can own weapons, and the factories are likely proxies for the nations. Yeah, could be. Number 344 Russian is like heavy and clunky. Oh, Smith & Wesson number 3. That's cool. Yeah, when Smith was doing contracts for the Russians. Surprising how accurate this heritage is. They are a blast. Yeah, they are. Some states don't allow them because they consider them like Saturday night specials, because I think some of the frames may be made of like zinc or something. But for what they are, shit, they're fun. Shoot the barrel out of them and keep going. Think I slowed it on what? I don't know. Selling off a few guns, thinning the herd, Alan Bishop. Hope you're only thinning what you got doubles of. I find it so hard to sell a gun once I have it in my collection. I converted a Sporter WBP Fox I bought from Arms of America. Great quality rifles. Yeah, they are. And you can buy it from them without a stock and without furniture and stuff for really cheap, and then add your own stuff. It's always something to look at. Cool live stream. Enjoyed the channel. Thanks for the content. No problem. Thank you for showing up. Let's see. Yeah, did I say hi to, where were they? There's some people here I saw I wanted to say hi to, and now I don't see them. Where did they go? I know I saw them here. Oh, I'll come across it. Loretta's here, I saw. Glad to see they're here. True American Loretta. There it is. Good to have you here. Good to have you here. Hard times make hard people rock. The problem is soft culture. It is. We don't understand how extremely soft we've gotten and how easy life is. People that want to complain today, man, if you look at history and look at how an average family or individual lived even 40 years ago, your life is so easy now. It really is. I mean, you may not think so, but it is. Trust me. Secondhand Lions is a great movie. I agree. It is. Loretta is awesome cook, Orion. She makes me hungry every day. We hang out on Discord. What is Discord? I got invited into a Discord thing once. I went and nothing was going on. I couldn't figure it out. What is it? I don't even know what it is. Is that movie action or drama? True American Joe Martin. I'm not understanding some of this. Let's see. The millisecond you feel a lack of gravity when the Bobcat track comes off the ground feels like 10 minutes. Yeah, it does. If you guys heard my Bobcat story there. I got some leftover chicken and dumplings. Oh, man, I'm going over. What else we got? Orion Loretta is an awesome lady. I've been helping her get into guns. That's right. You have, Joe. Joe, I'm sure you're the one that brought her over here. Thank you very much. Guys, tell you, if you like what you see, tell your friends. I like kind of doing this freestyle thing. If I'm boring you, I'm just trying to find good stuff you guys are talking about so we can expound on it and go over some stuff. For me, the things was guns. I love my dad for it. Yeah, no doubt. The time I spent with my father at the range and all is irreplaceable. It really is. Missed out the other day on a Minsk 125 two-stroke street bike with 300 miles from Belarus. It was really cool looking. There's some cool dirt bikes. A buddy of mine has some brand new CZs still in the crate as delivered to the dealer unassembled. He assembled one. It was a CZ 250 or 500. I can't remember, but he's got two more. He bought a dealer out of there. It's remaining stock. The guy had like 5 of them in crates. He offered me one. I turned him down at the time, but really cool bikes. Kids are tough. I hated being told I couldn't. You're right. What rifle do you like for practical reasons? Folding stock, yes, on the AK. I agree. I would get that Tang rail mount. Yeah, I would too. Rifle or pistol, they are tools. What job do you intend to use? Yeah, that's kind of what I asked. 7.62 short barrels are too loud, especially in... Oh, I'm sorry. I'm reading 7.62 as if it's part of your sentence. It's part of his name. Short barrels are too loud, especially at 5.56. I agree. When I read 7.62, I was going to say you're crazy. 5.56 is way louder in short barrels than the 7.62. A 16-inch 7.62 39 without a muzzle device isn't that loud. You're right. Correct. Even a rifle in 2.2, and that crack of it, holy Christ. Unbelievable. Drill out the back of the Draco for 1913 adapter or no? Yes. I was thinking about doing it on my mini Draco because I've got one of the SB braces with the fork that slides between the receiver and the grip. And it's worked out fine. It's never let loose on me, nothing like that. But I thought that I should put more of a normal brace on there. Hold on one second, guys. Oh, okay. I thought somebody had texted me. But no big deal. Let's see. Poland is a huge gun culture. It has forever. I agree. I don't think that their citizens wouldn't know about them. I didn't drill my JP Patriot, not yet. I run USMG folder for now, but have contemplated drilling. Yeah, it's no big deal to drill that in the back. It really isn't. Yeah, I've got mine's an SB3 maybe. I don't know. Yeah, it's an SB3. And mine's not loose at all. It really isn't. It's tight as a gnat's ass. I think Polish guy wants his country to be completely innocent in the migrant problem. Yeah, they're keeping people out now, which is, I can't blame them. God bless them. Innocent in the Polish problem from Syria, Poland sold weapons bound for jihadis from 11 to 16 for U.S. cash. I can't blame them for wanting to keep them out. That's why that EU thing's going to break apart. I would assume. I don't know. Poland rocks, they should understand better than anyone. I think they do. I think Czechoslovakia, too, if I'm not mistaken. Just picked up 500 round 7.62 by 39 Bernal, 175 delivered. That's not bad, 350. That's a great price. Can't ask where you got it, I guess. But that's a great price for that ammo right now. I mean, 350, yeah, it's still double what it was, more than double. But, everything seems to be around 400, 1,000 right now. Let's see. Drill it, then mine's a tool, but not going to drill it until I have another. Why? You're not going to break nothing. You're going to if you're going to put one on, get here. Forget about the pick rail. Yes, you can do that, but I would just drill it and get a folder from CNC Warrior. Goes right through that hole in the center. I guess it's 3/8 maybe. I can measure mine if you want, but great thing how that works. No pick rail, nothing, so it works really well. It's super stable because it's direct attachment. Let's see. I wasn't seeing Poland sucks. Roberta, this isn't a collector, more of a tool. Okay, then drill it. Like he said, JP, I've heard they're hard as hell, but they make good bits. It won't be a problem drilling the receiver and the little bit of the trunnion that you get into. That won't be a big deal either. Just get some good sharp bits and take your time. A little oil. Go to town. Anyone see the tests of the 24-pound gun from the 1628 warship, the Yasa from Sweden? No, I haven't. Is it on YouTube? I'll have to check it out. What kind of tests were they doing? That'd be interesting. Sometimes it's stuff like that you don't think about is interesting. It's just a big version, right? Big version of what we put in our rifles every day. Been here the whole time listening while doing stuff. Always try and catch your streams. Well, thanks you. That's Save the Bees. Good to have you. Yes, the U.S. is mostly responsible. I'm not drilling mine yet until I have another to put up. Another stock or another gun, you mean? I have a Midwest Industries aluminum stock with the tail hook. Yeah, perfect. Rock, you do the loadout. No. So this was kind of impromptu. If you missed the beginning of the stream, talked to a friend I call my Thunder Buddy. That's my new name for him. And I was going to the range today, and he called, and I took the call because I've been waiting to talk to him. And it was just more important and more interesting talking to him today than going to the range. But I was planning that for Tuesday, and I got something going on Tuesday. If I don't get to it Tuesday, I'll do it Wednesday for sure. But so if you don't see my stream Tuesday, look for it Wednesday. But we're actually meeting with a realtor on Tuesday. But we could talk a little bit about it now, but we're almost 2 hours in, guys. I think I'm better off saving that for Tuesday, Wednesday. Okay. I haven't forgotten. Well, I did forget, but I wouldn't have on Tuesday. We will talk about the loadout. Yes, for sure. I've got a bunch of research done on it and some stuff, and I think you guys will like it, and you'll learn a lot. And you'll learn a lot about making things adaptable. Let's put it that way, adaptable. And I think you'll like it. And I got some places with some good deals and some stuff that I've used and tested personally that I know is quality, is comfortable, and lasts. How's that sound? And they got some good deals all the time. I'm still buying stuff from them. They're that good. I'm lucky enough to have Midwest Industries right near me. So their factory is not far at all from where I work in Milwaukee. And they have a store there. You can get everything they sell there, and even some closeouts or maybe a blem or two. Really nice stuff and really nice guys. People don't realize how much gun stuff is made in Wisconsin. A lot of big manufacturers. For instance, God, why is the name? I'm getting old, guys. I struggle to search for things that I know instantly. The famous AR company. In my opinion, they build those go to war guns. Oh God, what the hell is the name of the company? It's killing me. It'll come to me. If I think about it too hard, I never come up with it. So we'll let it go. I've been to the Vasa Museum in Sweden. Cool place to visit. I'd love to go to Sweden since I'm Swedish. I should have went to the range today. Yeah, me too. But I could sight in my guns Wednesday for deer season. It's not really sighting in. It's just double checking them. That's all. The Vasa sunk in Stockholm Harbor in 1628. Wow. Refloated in 1961 and now in a museum. They found 3 guns still on board. They couldn't salvage in the 1660s. Cool. Yeah, I got to watch that. Before cast a copy of one of the 24-pound cannons, and they did a bunch of tests. That's pretty cool. The CNC Warrior folding stock, the Galil style. Yes, that's the one I have on there. I don't call it Galil style. I don't know, because I've seen that stock on other Krinkoffs and different stuff. But I guess it is kind of a Galil style. Even fits the WBP and the barrels without having to alter them. Yeah, they're great stocks. They really are. I can't say enough about their quality there. And the way they lock with the ball detent and everything. They're phenomenal. There was a long wait for a while. And I talked to the owner, and people were complaining about them not picking up the phone, returning calls. They were that busy. And yes, she realizes, the lady I talked to realizes it's hard to, you should always get to your phone, but they'd be on. I know how it is when I ran our factory. You're out on the line, you're running, and you can't stop. The line will go down, and bad things will happen. Really bad things. Bravo Company, yes, that's the company. Bravo Company's up there. Midwest Industries is up there, and on and on and on. Henry Rifle Company is up there. They have one of their plants there. Um, a lot of good stuff up there. Really, really cool. Illinois, for that matter. So, for such a leftist state, it's amazing how many manufacturers are in Illinois. And I guess it's, Springfield Armory, Rock Island Armory, the DSA, the FN company, is here. Krebs is in Illinois. On and on and on and on. It's amazing. The Dratchinifel, what's Dratchinifel channel? uh, has a recent video about cannonball splinters on ships that are very good. Has a part about Vatican. Guys, imagine that. I read somewhere or watched a documentary that when cannonballs hit those ships, that most people were killed by the shrapnel, the shards of wood, more so than the cannonballs in a lot of cases. And those big wood war vessels, Britain, Spain, I may be off a little bit, but I'm telling you, the walls of those ships, I think the timbers were like 12-inch timbers or something. They were crazy thick, right? And then I think they were lined too with, I don't know, bronze, brass, steel. I don't know. But the timbers that these ships were built out of, just crazy. And in some cases, depending, I guess, on the size of the gun, it may take multiple shots to get through the sidewalls of those ships. I'm not talking all of them, but the big warships. Just incredible piece of technology, even as though we look at them as these ancient old sailing ships. My God, pretty neat. If you ever get to visit one that's at a museum or docked somewhere, recreation, they're pretty incredible. Lived in Illinois for a decade. No clue why any manufacturer would stay there with a governor that wants them all out of business. Yeah, but they're here. And for the most part, I know several, including an owner of one. And I've never heard them complain about Illinois bothering them too much. They obviously, it's like any other state when it comes to federal stuff, but I know there's a big push right now down there to have this new security law where they got to lock them up every night, and there's all kinds of things they have to follow, like certain diameter of rod put through all the trigger guards and locked and this and that, or stored in vaults and all this craziness. Think about having a gun shop, a bigger shop, even a mom and pop shop with 2,000 guns in it. Think about running a rod through just aligning them all correctly to run a rod through to lock them. And what about the ones with really no secure trigger guard, like an AR, for instance, that you can drop the trigger guard, what other examples of that would there be? A lever action, maybe, different stuff, just crazy stuff to cost them money, to where some will say, it just ain't worth staying open any longer. Maybe the guy's 5 years from retirement says, I'm just going to close it down rather than sell it or keep going. Or they're just making it tougher and tougher and tougher. And gun shop thefts are not what is causing Chicago's gun problems. I do know of one shop in Illinois that was burglarized, I know at least 2 times, maybe 3, within a week's time. Like, they got burglarized and cleaned out, and within a week, they hit it again. And the state, I think it was the state, came in and said that you guys are done, or they were going to pull their FFL or something. They've went to have a single gun there on display. None you can see, nothing. It's order and wait, period. Well, why even do business there? I mean, I walked in there one day to see what they were all about, and I'm like, "Am I missing something? Where's your guns?" And they were really rude. They're like, "Well, didn't you hear? You know, we were burglarized and da 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 da. And we don't do that. Nope. If you want to order one, you order one." And, all right. Well, hey, you have a nice day, partner. Um, they ask gun the FFLs will ask all the time. Uh, a lot of them, not all of them, see the online trade as cutting into their business or costing them markup or gross per unit or whatever. And or they complain about them having to foot the bill to be the showroom for the online sales. Well, maybe, but okay, if I'm a local gun shop, why aren't you selling online too? Why not? Okay, well, you might say the markups aren't enough. It's not worth it. It's not this. It's not that. But I mean, there's solutions to it, and maybe it's a necessary evil. Maybe, and I don't know. I may be speaking out of turn, but I know in the car business, it was assumed that the same thing. All these guys are selling online and cutting into. Well, you either adapt or you go away. So we've done it now, and my online deals make more money than the in-person deals. And the average internet customer is way more savvy than the guy walking off the street. So to me, okay, I'm going to sell online too, and that's going to fill the gap or pay whatever bills. And yes, I've got others to incur. Maybe you need a full-time shipping person or whatever, but you figure it out. You figure out that niche, or maybe you figure out what to sell online. Maybe some things are more profitable than others, but until you look and until you try, I know what the alternative is, and that's going out of business. So it's probably worth a look to most of these shops. And my plan is to open an FFL, and so I pay close attention to everything I can glean about the industry. And frankly, if you're not really truly in the industry, it's hard to find information. But like anything, if you're interested, you'll find out. You'll make friends, you'll talk, you'll glean advice, and you'll take the advice. But yeah, I don't know. Oh, that came from the Illinois thing. It's there's still a lot of gun shops. So some are doing it, some aren't. Some just threw in the towel. I guess it is what it is. So Orient Fixer, he's from Illinois too. So we've got a lot of Illinois people here. Illinois also wants everyone to stop smoking and drinking too. Speaking of that, I wonder, these are Wisconsin smokes, so I can't tell you. Would you be a deer and wait to commit crime until after I have unsecured my gun? Yeah. Thank you for being a peach. That's awesome. The law is to make it harder to get a gun, I think. Yeah. Harder on who? Harder on who? What's your handle? I think that's 6'6", 150 IQ white bear. I never noticed the beginning of it there. If they can't outright get rid of the Second Amendment, they're just going to try to make it where poor people can't afford guns, or the taxes for the ammo, yada, yada, yada. Yes, absolutely. That's their backdoor gun control. It is. Now, on a good note, the Illinois Supreme Court ruled that the gun and ammo tax in Cook County is unconstitutional. So it's gone. It went away. I know this back when I lived down there full time. There was a Cabela's that opened up just inside Cook County, and I couldn't understand why they would have opened there. And it was a two-story Cabela's, big one, with the airplanes hanging inside and everything. And the entire second floor was guns. Illinois started taxing them. Somehow they had cut a deal with the county or something on the square footage and a tax break for building there and all this. Well, Cook County reneged on it and then started taxing them. Either it was their property tax based on square foot of sales floor and this and that they reneged on. So you know what they did? They moved everything downstairs and closed off the second floor. So it wasn't sales floor any longer. They couldn't tax them on it. That's how far they had to go, because Illinois was trying to screw them over so bad. So you walked in there one day and you went, wait a second, where'd everything go? The store's half as small. They crammed everything on the first floor and said, screw them. And they won. They did it. Illinois didn't get their taxes. But then they had the gun and ammo tax hit. And I often wondered if it wasn't because of a big retailer like that, where they thought, you know what, we'll pass it. I know it's going to affect everyone, but it'll be a win-win for them because it'll affect everyone. But their biggest competition, or their biggest player, being Cabela's, was the one that would pay the most, or affect their customers the most. So they put that in. Now it's gone. So now it's cool. You can go there and not get taxed that extra money on ammo and whatnot for those of you that live there. Yeah, that would be a full-time job. He says they'd have to hire someone just to secure the guns every day at night. And it would be. Think about the process that would be to rig up, 1,000 guns without damaging them and so on. It'd have to be crazy. The 2A ended in 1934 and 68. In practice, it's now a privilege and not a right. I agree. And we need to fight to take it back every day. And until, that lovely ruling in 1968 goes away, we don't have anything. We have nothing. There should be nothing. Nothing should impede you from A, being able to purchase, B, being able to keep and bear. Because trust me, them putting laws and rules into effect that slow down or keep you from the original purchase, how can you keep and bear if you can't purchase, I know Illinois found the FOID card thing unconstitutional too, but that's, of course, on hold, I believe, until whatever. It's got to go through another court level. I don't understand how it goes to an appeals court and they find it unconstitutional, but yeah, it affects nothing. We just keep going. I don't get it. Chicago and Cook County hate big box stores because they have the money and lawyers to fight them. You're right. Did someone win the lottery in Illinois and they still haven't been? Yeah, well, the longest time, even multi-state lottery things that they were involved in. If you won big in the lottery, let's say $1 million, $5 million, $10 million, guess what? You didn't get your money. They weren't paying. They had put everything on hold, partially because of COVID, partially because they were literally broke and still are, I believe. But they were not paying the winnings. You got an IOU or something. Could you imagine? What can I impose fees and penalties and interest on them like they do? Unfriggin' believable. I think if it was an out-of-state winner in the multi-state, whatever, the big game or whatever the hell I don't play it, so I don't know. But I think they were paying the out-of-state ones because, of course, then the other states would kick them out of it. And maybe they did. I don't remember. It was a while back when I was living down there. But it's just unbelievable what they do and get away with in that state. It's just crazy. Imagine buying original AKs and submachine guns for cheap. Yeah, wouldn't it be great? You got to wonder sometimes, when they had the amnesty and registered all of them. And my dad was part of that back then. And I remember he was going to register some stuff. And he said, I just don't trust them. We'll register them. Then they'll come arrest people and this and that. He said, but I should get some maybe and register them. And at the end, I was a kid. In the end, I think, he was thinking about putting some together and then registering them. And he didn't. And it would have been cool if he had, because then I'd have them right now. But my point being, you wonder if they did that because they knew it was going to drive prices up. And then who has them? The people with the money to afford them, right? So if you have the money to afford a machine gun, you can have it. You can have it. If you can pass a normal background check and you have the money to pay for that because there's a finite amount of them on that list, it's driven prices up. So if you can afford to pay for the gun, pay for the tax stamp, and have that wherewithal, you can own one. But meanwhile, average citizen like me or you, we can't. Why not? Not because we can't legally, because we can't afford it. So, in other words, it's doing exactly what I think it was meant to do, is to keep it out of the hands of those that aren't in the chosen ranks, right? Yeah, crazy, crazy. Some guns, there's some on the list, guys, believe it or not, that you can own fairly cheaply, but even so, I think probably the cheapest NFA full auto gun you can get into that's legally on the list and everything is probably 5 to 6 grand, maybe. And then there's other stuff like Thompsons and stuff like that that bring 100,000 or more. So who can afford that? Bring a piggy bank and get an original Sten gun if there were no gun control laws. Yeah. Machine guns aren't worth the entry price anyways. Well, it depends what entry price you're talking about. If a full auto AK or a full auto M4 were $10 more than its counterpart, which is probably all, I don't even know if there really is. Well, you got Sears, you got a few other things, but let's say they were $25 more than the semi-auto version. Is it worth the price of entry? Probably. If you're talking about ammunition costs to feed it and whether or not aimed fire is better, that's a whole nother story. By all means, aim fire is more accurate and probably more effective. But there's also a use for full auto. And what is that use? Well, it's covering fire. It's keeping people's heads down. If you can keep the opponent's head down, he can't aim and he can't take advantage of those times when he can use aimed fire, right? Which is truly your anti-personnel fire, right? Full auto is always used to keep heads down, I guess maybe there's times when it's used just to hose a beach or hose a last ditch charging enemy or something like that. But all in all, I bet you're even on something like D-Day. I don't, well, maybe that's a bad choice, but let's say advancing enemy force, I'll bet your hit ratio is 1 in 8, maybe. I don't know. Where am I pulling those figures? I seem to have heard it somewhere regarding full auto fire, but I can't remember where or in what context. But that number, not only did I think I hear it somewhere, I kind of my feeling about where it would be. Yes, it can be accurate. Yes, you can control some submachine guns and rifles in fully automatic. Machine guns too, full machine guns too. But aim fire is way, 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 way more deadly. I think anybody that's been downrange can attest to that for the most part. Aim belt fire is great. Yeah, it is. Let's see. A belt fed is probably the only full auto that's worth the hassle. I don't know. I don't know enough about it because I haven't been exposed to heavy machine guns. I don't have a lot. I've fired an M60 before on its pod, but that's about it. And I was a young kid. I was in my teens. Let's see what else. Exactly, all about the money at the way back to the Boston Tea Party to the yellow vests. Keep pushing. Yep. Not complying is free. I will never fill out a 4473. You're right. Every bit of it is uh, a complication, something that, frankly, if you take the Constitution at its uh, true meaning, it's an infringement and is illegal. And Brastard with the muscle flex, absolutely. Brastard speaks his mind, and that's a great thing. Absolutely. I'd be so pissed that that'd be my luck winning a lottery and they can't pay. Yeah, could you imagine? I don't know. It just boggles the mind. It really does. I was talking with a friend about how much things have changed, and some people think, well, worst is behind us, and I just have this feeling, constant feeling, that the other shoe is yet to drop. Um, whether that be the economy taking a dump or overreach of the government or whatever the case may be. But I just have this continual feeling of that. And I always have to I'm the kind of guy that goes with his gut. That's all. So you do the best you can to prepare for such things, whether that's safeguarding your finances or your person or whatever the case may be. But I just think people need to, there's nothing wrong with going back to the past a step or two and at least being ready for what that all entails. And put some thought into it, guys. Think about if you couldn't run to the grocery store, if uh, you needed a piece of machinery or a tool and you couldn't just run to Home Depot or whatever the case, or you're cooking dinner and you're missing an ingredient and you can't run to the corner store. What do you do? How do you fix those problems? How do you prepare for them? Can you have fun while doing it, while learning something and making yourself just a little more ready for it? Because at the end of the day, if something really bad or a downturn like that was to happen, is it going to be a truly world-ending catastrophe, something like that? I don't think so. I think it more so be like the years of the Depression, where things get harder to obtain, or harder to afford, or what have you. But with a little thought and preparation, I think those jobs, while obviously harder, are not impossible. And the easier you can make it or relieve some of the stress that may come with it, it relieves a lot of stress on your family unit. And that's a good thing, because at the end of the day, family is what it's all about. That's who takes care of you, and that's who you take care of. So that's who we're safeguarding. That's who we're safeguarding. We are, for those of us in here who are male, and then not to short the females, but that male role of the protector and the provider. And and that's by no means a chauvinistic statement. It's just a conservative type of heritage thing, I guess. I just feel that responsibility, and not in a bad way. My wife works and provides for this family extremely well. And she also does traditional roles extremely well. And I appreciate every one of them she does. And I hope she appreciates everything I do in those roles. But we're easily able to change them in and out. Um, she's she can take on some of the roles that I do extremely well. She's very mechanically inclined. She's all those things. And that's why we get along so good. But I just feel that that's what we have to do these days and be ready for it. So the more you can do that, whether it's learning how to reload, shooting a little better, conserving the assets you have, or learning a new hobby or a new trade or any kind of skill that you don't have, or making skills you do have better. It's all part of the game, guys. Why do we go to the range? To get better at what we do, right? Hopefully it's not just to shoot behind a bench and lob crap down rain and punch holes in paper. If And I get it, some days that's fun at the range, right? But there's another thing you can improve upon. When you do have time for the range, if range time's that short and hard to find, then have a plan when you go. Have some drills in mind that you're going to help increase those skills you may be lacking a little bit. Maybe it's as simple as, just from low ready, just do a quick up and two, and what it is. Or maybe firing while walking, that's a lot harder than it seems. Sometimes there's moments you need to advance while still putting some lead down range, right? Can you do it? Can you do it? Can you keep bullets on target while walking? Learn how to walk. Learn how to use and don't use certain parts of your feet to do it, to keep you flat and keep that muzzle from moving. If you don't know how, read. It's simple. There's lots of info out there. A basic, it's good. A basic Army manual a lot of times can teach you a lot of good stuff. All kinds of stuff out there. But always be learning, always be looking, and take the most advantage of the time you have, because the time we have may be shorter than we thought. I'm not saying anything's imminent, but it certainly seems some days as it's advanced quite a way down the rabbit hole, doesn't it? So just keep working at it. Don't freak out. Don't be, people say, what are you paranoid of? I'm not paranoid of anything. I'm prepared. Why do you have so many guns? Why are you so paranoid? I'm not paranoid because I have guns. I'm not worried. I don't do anything wrong. I don't do anything illegal. I do what I do, and it's just to protect my family. That's all, and protect what I have. That's it. So why would I be paranoid about anything? I think they take it the wrong way. Being prepared is not. It's a virtue, I think. It's not the other way around. I think the ones that are crazy about it, and the wackos, the super preppers and all this stuff, I think they're the ones that may be a little out there. But if you're truly prepared and making advances every day, then what's to be paranoid about? You're doing the best you can, and that's all you can do, right? Don't get down on yourself for it. Look ahead as to, hey, little steps. Look what I did today. Whatever it may be, a security step. Maybe you install the better deadbolt on your front door. Maybe you put an alarm system in. Maybe you learned a different shooting technique. Maybe you learned a different way of sight acquisition in a tough position. Maybe you shot prone today instead of shooting from the bench. Maybe whatever. But get out there and do it. Get out there, do something different than the same old, Make a decision as to what you're going to do. People, too many times you sit and listen to me or other channels about this gun, that gun. Well, what about this? That caliber, it does this and that. And what about that gun versus that one? Everybody says that one's. How about buy something? Make a decision, buy something. Is it a perfect decision? Maybe not. But is it a decision you made with the most information you have? Great. You're 10 steps ahead of the next guy. Will you make mistakes? Sure. But guess what? That mistake is progress, because you just learned what not to do, right? So don't look at it as that. Just get out there and do it. You got to get moving, guys. Get moving. Let's see here. I see forced reset triggers. I need a corner store. Now that's a Chicago raised man. Yes, it is. Had a candy store in every corner, right? My great grandma owned a corner store. She ran, my great grandma ran a corner store that was attached to a bowling alley. And my great grandfather would send my dad down there with a bucket, a little galvanized pail, to get his beer for the day. And he'd bring the pail down there, set it up on the bar because he was a little guy, and put his nickel up there, his dime, whatever, his grandpa's money, and they'd fill the pail with beer, and he'd run it back down to his grandfather. Try not to spill it along the way. But my great grandma owned the corner store, and some of Capone's guys came in. He knew the names. I don't remember them from the stories, but if I heard the story once, I heard it 1,000 times. And we had, I'll tell you in a second what we had here until the 70s or 80s, at least 80s, I think. A couple of his guys had been in the bowling alley. I don't know if they were bowling, but they were drinking or something had happened. Maybe they were making a delivery. I don't know. But they were creating a commotion, and it was like they were drunk, my great grandma said. And they were creating such a hassle. I think one was brandishing a pistol and threatening someone or something. And my great grandma walked up and with a broom or a broom handle threatened to knock one of them out. And I think it was, she says, put that thing away or I'm going to take it from you and embarrass you. That's what she said. And he kind of turned to laugh and she cracked him right in the side of the head with it. He hit the ground. She took his pistol, put it in her apron, and went back to her candy store and told him, now get him out of here. And his buddy the buddy knew better or was sober and took him out of there. Not a word was ever said about it, except I was told he came back in, I don't know, the next time or days later, a week later, whatever it was, very apologetic. And I don't know where that came from, if it came from him or his boss, because they were my great grandmother. I'll tell you stories, but at one point, way later in her life, she was secretary to Mayor Daley, private secretary. She was the real Mayor Daley. She was his girl. He heeded her advice quite a bit too back in the day. So our Chicago roots ran very, very deep back in the day. But when parties were a much different thing than they are today, let me tell you. But back then, if you lived in Chicago and you wanted a job, you were a Democrat, period. Yeah, interesting. Anyhow, that gun that she put in her apron was on my dad's mantelpiece of his fireplace until the 1980s. And it was a cheap break open revolver, I remember. I want to say it was a Bulldog. It was called a Bulldog, was the brand. Cheapy, whatever. I think it was a 38. And that was on the mantle all the time, and it was like a play toy almost. I remember me and my brother would mess around with it. It was never loaded ever. They did. My dad didn't trust the gun, I think, or something. He said, and by mess around, I don't mean we played outside with it or something, but we would take it down, handle it, and of course, we were always taught safe handling, and we'd play with it, and it was neat. There was another one with it, a similar cheapie that had nothing to do with anything, but this one belonged to that guy that she took away. And I think my dad said he sold it at a gun show in the 80s at some point. And I was kind of mad. Why would you ever sell something like that with a story like that behind it? But yeah, whatever. Anyhow, just interesting. They didn't ban cheap surplus in 68. Those forced reset triggers aren't as fast as full auto, but I'd like to try one of those. Guys like bump stocks, forced reset triggers, binary triggers. I have tried them. To me, and trust me, I don't want them banned. I think anyone should be able to own one. I just don't find them all that useful. I don't know. A binary well run can be of some use, I believe, more so than a bump stock, say. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not a fan. If I want it, I want the real thing. Um, like what surplus was pouring into the U.S. Let's see. In 86, the Firearms Protection Act, same one that also banned machine guns. Yep. Also said once a machine gun, also a machine gun, and then you couldn't get the original barrels, which had nothing to do with it being full auto. Just stupid shit they did. I am 100% right. There was a 20-year ban most people have forgot. I must have missed something at the beginning. They changed the ban with the Firearm Protection Act, so I get out of my head. I just said what you said. It's about family. Oh, yeah. Bastard. Yes, it was a ban from 68 to 86 on surplus. 68, 78, 88. They banned all surplus then? It's where the sporting imports clause came from. Okay. Yeah, I think it's just I'm missing parts of the conversation, so it takes me a second to get to what they're saying. Very good. I can see now that I think about it, the surplus market was back up and running after 86. Yes, it was. I love break open revolvers. I wish I had one. You can get some decent break top Ivor Johnsons in the used market for a good price. I just look, yeah, Ivor Johnson always had some cool copies of stuff. I got an Ivor Johnson 22 auto that is just such a cool little gun. Always runs well. I had fun, Rock. I gotta go. I gotta get going too, guys. 2.5 hours. I spent 3 on the phone earlier with my Thunder buddy, and what time is it here? 10:30. It's about time for me to scour the internet for deals and find some stuff out there. What did I get this week? I got some mags to go with the my Spanish set me. There's those Duramags that work well in those. I found them on sale for $11. So I got 3 more of those, and I got a new med kit for my loadout for my plate carrier, and I got another tourniquet to add to it. Tourniquets are things you want 2 or 3 of, guys. Put one on the front of your carrier, one on the back, in case you go down face first, somebody can get to it, not have to roll you over or whatever. Put one on your rifle if you can. Put them everywhere, in your car. They are probably one of the single best things you can do to keep somebody alive when bleeding is an issue. You have no idea how quick somebody can bleed out. Wasn't that an EO? What's EO? Anyhow, it's late, guys. It's Sunday. I appreciate you all stopping in here for this impromptu talk. And it was just kind of take the questions and again, getting toward that self-reliance thing and having a community to talk to and have within reach if things go bad. And that's how I felt today with that phone call. It was just really good people. My God, I can't tell you how much I enjoyed it. And reach out, guys. Make friends. People in this hobby or thought process are easy to reach, maybe too easy sometimes. You got to be careful too out there. Don't forget that. But yeah, you know what the good ones are and what they aren't. So get out there, make some friends, have some fun. In the meantime, I'm going to enjoy my lever actions and get them sighted in. If you'd like, I'll do a video on the lever actions because I love them. And maybe I'll do a little video of us heading up for our hunt and going out on the hunt that morning a little bit. And if I get something, we can talk about it too. But somehow I got a feeling this year is going to be a little lean, maybe. But we'll see. It's going to be fun. Anyhow, lots more coming, lots more videos, and lots more live streams. Watch for us on Tuesday night. If I don't hit Tuesday this week, it'll be Wednesday for sure. And I got a feeling that's the way it's leaning, but if I can get in Tuesday, I will. But I just got a feeling that's the way it's leaning. So don't be all depressed if I'm not here Tuesday. I'll be here Wednesday, promise you. Hey, stay safe out there, guys. Take care of your own and take care of those that mean something, right? And that's everyone in our community. And try and do something for the community every day. Thanks again very much. And as always, Rockford Ordnance out. Night.